everyone, it's Clarice and today is Saturday, so it's time for another Saturday Reads. This week was actually a week of firsts for me. The first thing I tried to read this week was The Sugar Frosted Nutsack by Mark Lehner. And I say tried because getting to the first of this week, this was my first DNF. I'm not the type of person to start a book and then not finish it despite how much I disliked it, or at least I thought I wasn't the type of person to not finish a book. It's kind of weird, which I expected it to be, but it's weird in a really annoying way. None of the things really made sense, and the author kept referencing people and events and things which I had no clue about. Normally I like pop culture references, but he seems to be making pop culture references to different things multiple times per page, and I was just getting lost. This book confused me, disgusted me, confused me more, offended me, then just confused me more, and it was just getting really tiring to read it. The one good thing did come out of reading this book. It's the first time I ever annotated a book. It's weird because I tried doing that a month or two ago and I got too scared and didn't push through with it. I guess my hatred for this book was just so strong that I needed to write it down. All of the annotations here are negative. Issues. I don't really understand anything that's going on. I'm not interested in understanding what's going on. 90% of this book is just flying over my head. I feel like this whole book is some inside joke the author has with himself and I'm just an awkward outsider. Yeah, all negative annotations, but I annotated a book. That's new. There are actually more first this week. In the beginning of this week, I actually decided to sign up for Scribd, and I read a couple of my first Scribd books. If you don't know, Scribd is an unlimited ebook, comic book, audiobook subscription. I actually do have some issues with it, mostly relating to the Android and iPad app, but maybe I'll just make a whole separate video on Scribd once I've used it for a longer period of time. But going back to the books I read, first two books I actually completed this week, both came from Scribd. First of those books being Hyperbole and a Half by Ali Brosh. If you don't know Ali Brosh, she has this blog and it's hilarious, and this book is basically that blog in book form. But what I liked about this book is that it wasn't just shallow humor. A lot of it was really funny, but a lot of it was also extremely real, and I really appreciated that. She also delved into some deeper topics like depression. So again, this isn't a shallow book at all, but it was a really fun experience reading it, and I just flew through this. It was fun. The next thing I finished from Scribd and this week was an audiobook, which was The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Also read by Neil Gaiman, which is the main reason I decided to listen to this audiobook. This is my second Gaiman book that I ever read, and I really need to read more because this was really good. It's not the sort of story you can explain or probably should try to explain, but I suggest that if you like really atmospheric, whimsical books that you try reading this. It's actually really short, and it was for sure a book that made me feel like a child again while I was reading it. I'm still not done with firsts because the next books I finished this week I read as part of the CramAThon, which was a readathon created by Witty Novels. I posted my TBR the other day, which I will link down below. But this is also my very first readathon that I'm participating in. I kind of decided to participate in it last minute on a whim, but I'm glad I did because yesterday I read 3 books. So I won't talk about my thoughts on those books because I plan to make a CramAthon wrap-up sometime next week. But just so you know, the books that I finished were So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, the 4th book in the Hitchhiker's Guide series by Douglas Adams, Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and Perfect State, a novella by Brandon Sanderson. And with that, I finally managed to catch up on my Goodreads goal. I'm so happy that I'm finally caught up because for a while there, I was, I think, 7 books behind. Currently, I'm reading 2 books, both from Scribd. Actually, I'm really enjoying Scribd. Anyway, the first of those books is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. I don't know, I just suddenly felt like reading something related to feminism because I've always identified as a feminist, but I have yet to really read any literature on the topic. so I think I probably should. I also started listening to the autobiography of Neil Patrick Harris. Actually, my parents, I gave it to them. My parents actually own this book in physical form, hardback, but it's Neil Patrick Harris and he's the one narrating this audiobook, so I thought it would be cool to listen to it. But it's also nice because I have the physical copy with me. For the remainder of this weekend, I plan to read, of course, the rest of my CramAthon TBR, namely The Little Prince and Identical by Ellen Hopkins. This week I also plan to, of course, finally finish the Hitchhiker's Guide series by Douglas Adams with the final book, Mostly Harmless. And if I finish the Neil Patrick Harris autobiography early on in the week, I also want to start listening to How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. Caitlin over at Book Consume talks about this book a lot, and it sounds amazing and sounds like the sort of book that I would really like to read, because again, I just feel like reading feminist books. If you have any recommendations for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. So those are the books that I recently read, I'm currently reading, and plan to read soon. What are you currently reading? As always, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!